Hello and welcome to another episode of Top Deck, the series where we take a look at some of the leading TCG deck lists. And today we are looking at Ed's list, which took 4th place at the recent WCQ. I believe this was the Aylesbury one, and he was playing Sky Strikers with a 41 card list and some pretty interesting decks in the main. So let us run through the list then. So Triple Ray, Triple Ash Blossom as the chosen go-to hand trap now, very common for most decks at the moment. Triple Engage, Widow Anchor, Triple Eagle Booster, very popular, especially when you have mirror matches, 2 multi-roll, 2 Shark Cannon, also really good in mirror matches, although we don't typically see this at 2, it's normally at 1, 2 Area 0, 1 Afterburners, 1 Jamming Waves, 1 Hornet, 1 Hercules Base, Triple Shared Ride, very good against a lot of the meta compared to Max C for the format really, to be honest, Triple Twisters, double Terraforming, double Forged Burial Goods, 1 Fusion, 1 Rotor, 1 Upstart, and triple Duster. So Upstart in a 41 card deck, but then it is Sky Strikers. So for the extra, triple Kagari, Shizuku, and Hayate, running the third one of these here. 1 Phoenix, 1 Unicorn, 1 triple Burst Dragon, getting in that piercing damage is proving to be really popular. 1 Ningirsu, 1 Topologic Bomber Dragon, and 1 Borosaur Dragon. For the side deck, he's running the Gamma Engine, the Ghost Bells, and Ghost Ogres, so a wide selection of hand traps available moving into matches against combo decks. Then 2 Typhoon. Interestingly, this can deal with like Imperial Order, stuff like that, and then triple evenly matched as a blowout card. So that is it for the list itself. So let's go on to the siding strategy first. So against pure Sky Strikers, so going first, putting in nothing and taking out nothing. He's got the optimal list for going first against the mirror match here, which is probably what you want to be designing for if you anticipate that this is going to be a pure striker heavy meta. For going second, he's putting in the Evenlies and taking out the Dusters. You just want to wipe the board as quickly as possible and put yourself ahead. Then against Dinos, pretty interesting that he's actually set up to side against this particular matchup. So putting in Ogres going first and taking out Dusters, they don't really set spells or traps, to be honest. And then going second, putting in the Ciphering package and taking out the Shared Rides, and the Upstart is pretty reasonable. Then against Goki, so going first, putting in the Ogres and the Bells. He's actually not putting in the Cypherings for going first because you have sort of enough interrupts at that point. Taking out the Dusters and the Twin Twisters, they won't have any spells or traps that you need to deal with. And then going second, putting in all of the hand traps, so really hand trap heavy, but it does mean that you have lots and lots of ways of dealing with their cards. So you have the 3, 6, 9, 12 hand traps that you'll be able to pop off against them with, and then taking out Dusters, Twins, Shared Rides, and Upstart, all pretty reasonable to be honest. And then for slower decks, things like Draco and Altergeist and sort of trap heavy decks, no changes when going first, obviously, because you have all that spell and trap removal sort of embedded into your deck. But for going second, he's putting in the Cyframes, because you can really punish Draco players, especially with the Cyframes, if you can trigger off their effects. And then you have your Evenlies, your Typhoons, just to deal with potential problem cards, things that can shut you down. Secret Village as well can be a bit of a problem, but Typhoon gets around that too, which is pretty nice. Taking out Dusters, Shared Rides, Upstart, Shark Cannon, and Ash. Alright, that's the siding strategy. On to the rounds then. So round 1 he went up against Sky Strikers and went 2-0. Round 2 against Dinos he went 2-1. Round 3 against Sky Striker he went 1-1. Round 4 against Sky Striker he went 0-2. So he's actually even in the mirror match so far. Then round 5, another Sky Striker, he went 2-0. Round 6 against Sky Striker he went 2-1, so really pulling ahead in mirror matches here. And in round 7 against Sky Striker, once again, he went 2-0. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mirror matches and 1 Dino match from this 7-round event. Pretty interesting. And then he won 1, 2, 3, 4 of those mirror matches, lost 1 and drew 1, so looking like he's doing really well in the mirror matches, so very well practiced for those. And then obviously against Dinos, he just happens to, I guess, have enough practice and skill to just win it out. So let's take a look at some of the questions and answers that I got from him. So the usual, how was the event? He said it was alright, it was run in the middle of a shopping centre, so not very usual, and it started an hour late, but that's kind of typical at regionals anyway. Then why did he run Strikers? He said it's because it's the best deck, therefore giving him a better chance to top, and if your list is built for the mirror, then the mirror becomes very easy to win. It's a 41 card list with Upstart. He was originally playing 40 cards with Upstart, but told that he should play a second Shark Cannon, and there wasn't anything he wanted to take it out, so he just went with it anyway. Obviously, Upstart is also the free spell in the grave and an easy side out, so you don't have to adjust your siding strategy if that second Shark Cannon is not something you would be taking out otherwise. Then the 2 Shark Cannons in the main, absolutely amazing in the mirror, he says, because it takes out the Ray which stops your opponent from being able to float into the Ray, and also you're able to use it for yourself. You're also free to use the Afterburners without having to worry about the Ray coming back and then them getting an additional card off it, essentially. Also, the second one is useful because you tend to set the first off multi-roll and then it gets banished, so being able to go into the second later on is just good for getting out of getting problematic cards away. It also allows for Borosword to be made much more easily because you can take sort of big link chunks from your opponent. Then Twisters instead of MST. I'll be doing a video that sort of looks at Sky Striker Top Cut specifically in progression into Top Cut. One of the things I've noticed is that Twisters is more popular than MST the higher up you get into Top Cut. And he said, Ed has said here, that Twisters is really good because it's able to destroy multiple back row and can fill up the grave with spells very quickly. Also, you can discard the card that you search with Shizuku for if you go first, because you can then just multi-roll back the card, or just add it back with Kagari if your opponent lets you go through into Ray. So that's pretty cool as well. Then how was Heavy Storm Dusters? He said it's great because it's just a free card. It gives you so much advantage because you do it in the end phase, so you hit Shared Ride and Eagle Boosters, and then you're just instantly ahead. He cited heavily for combo decks. I wanted to know if he thought it was necessary, given the current format. He said that if you're playing Pure, then you should only really be maining 3 Ash, because it is the most effective card in the mirror, allowing you to hit Shared Ride and engage. So you need to be able to side a lot of hand traps in order to combat the combo decks. So yes, he thinks it's definitely worth giving that a go. And then a Triple Burst in Ningirsu. These aren't the most typical extra deck options, so I want to know why he went for these. He said he never made either of them, but they were mainly in there for untargetable things, like getting over a Ray if you don't have a Shark Cannon. Or getting over a Ray if you don't have a Shark Cannon. Also, you can tribute the Triple Burst to summon a Striker Link from Grave and get its effect. He doesn't think that Truce Bayonet is very good because you already have so much removal that it's not necessary, and it usually gets Widow Anchored, and you have to invest a lot of materials in it in order to make things get going. And if you do that, then you can't really make a Borosword unless you have a lot of other monsters available already, which is very hard for this deck to do at the moment, especially with only 1 Hornet available. As for changes that he would make to the list, he thinks the main is perfect as it is. It has a really good matchup against the mirror and back row decks, which is what he was expecting to play against. The extra deck is also fine as it is. He never really found himself making anything other than the Striker Links and the Phoenix, and sometimes the Borosword too. The side is okay, but he wants to take out the Evenlies because it doesn't do a lot, and he never draws them anyway. As for the hardest and easiest matchups in general for the deck, he says the mirror is pretty easy if you play your hand reasonably well, and you can play through a Widow Anchor and end with Anchor and Booster fairly easily. Also, Altergeist and Draco are pretty easily won if you open any of the back row removal. The hardest matchup is probably Goki, because they usually win game 1 if they go first, and then they hope that you don't open problems, and you hope that you don't open back row hate in game 2, and if you get to game 3, you hope that you open hand traps in order to stop them from popping off and just killing you. So that's generally one of the harder matchups still. As for shoutouts that he wants to make, big shout out to Team Gator and to Brandon Polly, who gave him the list the day before. Shoutouts also to everyone from Athena Games in Norwich, to Hayden for lending him the Evenlies, and Harry Whistler and the rest of Team Gator for always helping him out. So congratulations again, Ed. A really nice looking list, and great to see you back on the channel. Fantastic ratios, beating all of those Sky Striker mirror matches, and yeah, it looks like you've really kitted this list out for a modern meta of Sky Striker and back row decks, so looks like you're well prepared for upcoming events. Hopefully we will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching this episode of Top Deck. If you have any comments or suggestions that you would like to make, leave them in the comment section down below. Check out the description for details of how you can get involved in this series. You can enter by voice interview, or instead you could just send all of your information over Facebook Messenger. Anything like that will be absolutely fine. If you want to see anything in particular from the upcoming series, then be sure to get in touch, and I'll see you guys in the next video.